It was a cold winter afternoon in the middle of the city. The streets were full of people, some rushing to their offices, some shopping, and some just walking by without noticing anything around them. Near a small bakery, a little girl stood, silently. Her name was Ashi. Ashi was just 8 years old. She had no jacket, only a thin, torn sweater. Her slippers were old, one of them broken. Her messy hair fell over her face, and her big brown eyes were fixed on the glass window of the bakery. Inside the shop, warm bread and sweet buns were placed on shelves. The smell of fresh food came out every time the door opened. Ashi's stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since yesterday. She didn't beg. She didn't knock. She just stood there, hoping. People walked past her without even looking. Some wrinkled their noses. Others simply ignored her as if she didn't exist. Then a loud voice broke the silence. "Ooh, look at her clothes." A group of kids in neat school uniforms walked by. There were 4 of them, 2 boys, 2 girls, all around 10 to 12 years old. They had just come out of a nearby school. One of the girls, with a fancy pink jacket and ponytail, pointed at Ashi. "She looks like a garbage girl," she said, laughing loudly. The others joined her. Ashi looked down, holding her stomach. The boy in the group picked up an empty water bottle. "Hey, want to take a bath?" he shouted. Before Ashi could move, the girl with the ponytail took the bottle from him, opened it, and threw cold water on Ashi's back. Everyone laughed. Ashi didn't scream. She didn't even wipe her face. She just stood there, shivering, her thin sweater now wet. The group kept laughing. People around noticed the scene, but no one said a word. Some even smiled and walked away. Then across the road, a black luxury car was parked. Behind the window, a man sat watching. His eyes didn't blink. His face was calm but serious. His name was Mr. Saeed. He had been sitting there for a while, waiting for someone. But now his eyes were fixed on the little girl. He opened the car door and stepped out. The school kids didn't notice at first. Mr. Saeed walked slowly but firmly toward them. He stopped right behind them and said one word. In a strong, deep voice, "Enough." The laughter stopped immediately. The kids turned around. Their faces turned pale when they saw who had spoken. Mr. Saeed was not just any man. He was well known in the area. A rich businessman, owner of several buildings and shops, including the bakery they stood near. Everyone knew him. Everyone feared his silence and respected his words. The girl with the ponytail lowered her eyes. The boy tried to hide behind his friend. Mr. Saeed didn't shout. He didn't move his hands, but the silence around him was louder than any voice. "Is this how your parents raised you?" he asked slowly. None of the kids replied. "She's just a girl, hungry, alone, and you are mocking her pain?" he said, looking straight at them. One of the boys whispered, We didn't mean." "Go home," Mr. Saeed interrupted, "before I call your school." The kids didn't wait. They ran down the street, their laughter gone. Mr. Saeed turned to Ashi. She was still standing, cold and silent. He slowly took off his long coat and wrapped it around her shoulders. The coat was too big for her small body, but it felt warm. Safe. She looked up at him for the first time. Tears filled her eyes, but still she didn't cry. "Are you hurt?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "Where is your home?" he asked. She didn't answer. "Parents?" She looked down, said nothing. Mr. Saeed took out his handkerchief and gently wiped the water from her face. "Come," he said. He led her toward the same bakery where she had been standing. People nearby watched in silence. Some whispered. Some looked away, embarrassed. Mr. Saeed ordered hot tea, a sandwich, and a small cupcake. He placed them in front of Ashi. At first, she didn't touch the food. He smiled gently. "It's okay, it's yours." She slowly picked up the sandwich and began to eat, small bites like she wasn't sure if it was real. Mr. Saeed sat beside her, watching. She finished everything without speaking. Then, something caught his eye. On Ashi's wrist was a thin, broken bracelet, almost hidden under the coat. There was a name carved into it, faded but still visible. Mr. Saeed leaned closer. He looked at the name, and his face suddenly changed. His hands stopped moving. His eyes stared at the bracelet like it was a ghost. The name said, Amna, a name he hadn't heard in many, many years, a name he had once loved. His voice dropped. Where? Did you get this? He asked. Ashi looked at him, surprised by the change in his voice. It was my mama's. She gave it to me. Mr. Saeed's heart skipped a beat. He leaned back, his mind spinning. Could this girl be? Just then, a shadow moved near his car. A black vehicle slowly drove past and stopped at the corner. The window rolled down slightly. Someone inside was watching them. Who was it? And why were they watching Ashi? Mr. Saeed sat in silence, staring at the bracelet on Ashi's wrist. His hands were still, but inside his heart was racing. He hadn't heard the name Amna in 10 years, a name once close to his heart. Ashi didn't understand why the kind man was now quiet. She slowly moved her hand under the coat, hiding the bracelet again. Your mama, her name was Amna? Mr. Saeed finally asked. Ashi nodded slowly. Yes, Amna Noor. Mr. Saeed's breath caught. Amna Noor, the same girl he had once loved. They had big dreams. They were supposed to get married, but life had other plans. Back then, his parents had rejected Amna because she came from a poor family. They forced Mr. Saeed to choose between love and family. In the end, he chose the path they wanted, and Amna disappeared from his life. He never heard from her again. Now, this little girl was saying she was Amna's daughter? He looked at Ashi's face carefully, her eyes, her smile, her voice. There was something familiar, something that felt like the past was standing in front of him. What happened to your mother? He asked, gently. Ashi looked down. Her fingers played with the edge of the coat. She died last year, she whispered. She was sick for a long time. We had no money. I tried to help her, but... Her voice broke. Mr. Saeed placed a warm hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, he said softly. For a moment, both of them sat, quietly in the bakery. The people around them continued their lives and sipping tea, chatting, unaware that something deep and powerful was happening right there. Then Mr. Saeed asked, And your father? Do you know anything about him? Ashi shook her head. Mama never told me much, only that he was rich and he didn't stay. Mr. Saeed felt like a knife had touched his chest. Had Amna really meant him? Was he the man she told Ashi about? He didn't ask anything more. Not now, but in his mind there was only one thought. What if Ashi is my daughter? Outside the bakery, the black car that had passed earlier was still parked nearby. Inside the car, a man in a black jacket sat watching through dark sunglasses. He held a phone to his ear. Yes, he whispered. She's with someone. A rich man. I think she's finally been found. Back inside, Mr. Saeed looked at Ashi again. She was trying to stay strong, but he could see the pain in her eyes. She had been through more than any child should. You're safe now, he said gently. Would you like to come with me? I have a warm house, food, and a soft bed. You can rest there. Ashi hesitated. She looked at the food in front of her, then at Mr. Saeed. Why are you helping me? She asked. Mr. Saeed smiled. Because someone should have helped you a long time ago. She thought for a moment, then nodded. Mr. Saeed stood up and paid the bill. He held her hand carefully and led her to his car. As they walked, people turned their heads. A rich man and a poor girl walking together? It wasn't something they saw every day. He opened the door and helped her into the back seat. The black car down the street turned its engine on. Mr. Saeed's driver looked surprised when he saw Ashi. But Mr. Saeed simply said, She's my guest. Drive home. On the way, Mr. Saeed kept glancing at Ashi through the mirror. She had fallen asleep in the back seat, her head resting on the door, still holding the coat around her like it was a treasure. He whispered to himself, What? If she really is mine? The bracelet, the name, the story, it all matched. He needed proof. He took out his phone and called someone. Dr. Amir, I need a private DNA test, as soon as possible. No one should know. When they reached his house, a large villa with tall gates, Ashi opened her eyes slowly. She looked around, confused. This is your house? She asked. Mr. Saeed nodded. She stepped out slowly, scared to touch anything. The house looked like a palace to her. Mr. Saeed led her inside. Warm lights, clean sofas, and the smell of flowers filled the air. A maid came forward, shocked to see the girl. Prepare a hot bath and some clean clothes for the guest, Mr. Saeed ordered. The maid obeyed quietly. Ashi took small steps, her eyes wide. It was like a dream. Mr. Saeed showed her a room. This will be yours tonight. Sleep well. She turned to him and said in a low voice, Thank you. He smiled. Rest now. We'll talk tomorrow. He turned off the light and closed the door behind her. But as he walked away, the same maid who had brought towels quickly took out her phone and sent a message. That night, Mr. Saeed could not sleep. He sat in his study, the lights dim, his thoughts heavy. The bracelet, the name, the girl. Was Ashi really his daughter? Had Amna really hidden this from him all these years? He looked through an old drawer and pulled out a small photo. It was old and faded, but the face was clear. Amna, young and smiling, holding a tiny baby wrapped in a blue blanket. He had never seen this photo before. It came to him in an envelope months ago, with no sender. He had ignored it then, thinking it was some mistake. But now, that baby in the photo. Could it be Ashi? Suddenly, his phone lit up. A message from Dr. Amir, the doctor he had called earlier. DNA test kit will be delivered tomorrow. Results in 48 hours. Confidential. Mr. Saeed nodded and put the phone down. He looked out the window. The city. Lights blinked far away. But down the street, a black car was still parked in the shadows. He narrowed his eyes. Who are you? Watching her? Inside the guest room, Ashi was awake. She had never slept on a real bed before. The blanket was too soft, the room too quiet. It scared her. She sat up and looked around. There were toys on a shelf, books on a table, even a pink teddy bear sitting on a chair. She touched the teddy bear slowly. It reminded her of a time when life was happy, before her mother got sick, before everything broke. She held the bear close and whispered, Mama, I miss you. A small tear rolled down her cheek. Just then, she heard a soft knock. It wasn't the front door. It came from the back balcony. She froze. Another knock. She stood up slowly and walked toward the curtain. Her small hands pulled it aside, and then she gasped. A man stood outside on the small balcony roof. His face was covered with a black scarf. He motioned to her silently. Then he whispered loud enough to hear, Ashi, come with me. Now, she shook her head. Who are you? He didn't answer. He looked around nervously. I promised your mother I would protect you, but you're not safe here. That man, he's dangerous. Ashi was confused. Mr. Saeed had been kind. He gave her food, clothes, warmth. Why would someone say that? I don't know you, she said. You don't have to. Just trust me. I know. About your mama, I know the truth. Before Ashi could respond, the room door opened. Mr. Saeed stood there. His eyes met the man's in the window. Leave her alone, Mr. Saeed said firmly. The man jumped off the roof and ran. Mr. Saeed rushed to the balcony and looked out, but the stranger had already disappeared into the darkness. He turned to Ashi, who stood shaking. Did he hurt you? He asked. She shook her head. He said he knew my mama. He told me to leave with him. Mr. Saeed's jaw tightened. You don't ever go with strangers. Never. Do you understand? Yes, sir, she whispered. He placed a hand on her shoulder. You're safe here, I promise. But in his mind, questions exploded. Who was that man? Why did he say such things? And how did he know about Amna? The next morning, Ashi woke up to the smell of parathas and chai. The maid Natsia brought her breakfast and smiled politely. But as soon as she left the room, she sent another message. She's getting close to him. We must act fast. Later that day, Mr. Saeed took Ashi for a walk in the garden behind the house. The sun was warm. The flowers were in bloom. For the first time in months, Ashi smiled, even laughed when a butterfly landed on her hand. Mr. Saeed watched her and felt a deep warmth in his heart. He had built this big house, earned so much money, but it had always felt empty. Now this little girl filled that emptiness, and she didn't even know it. He decided something in that moment. Even if the DNA test said no, he would still protect her. Always. But someone else had made a decision too. That night, as Mr. Saeed left the house to attend a meeting, a small white van parked quietly outside. A masked woman stepped out. She waited for the lights in Ashi's room to go off. Then she picked up her phone and whispered, "It's time. We take the girl tonight." The night was quiet. Too quiet. Inside the big house, Ashi was already in bed. She lay under the soft blanket, hugging the pink teddy bear close to her chest. But she couldn't sleep. Her mind was full of thoughts. Who was the man on the balcony? Why did he say Mr. Saeed was dangerous? And why did he know her mother's name? But even with all the questions, she felt safer in this house than anywhere else. She closed her eyes, slowly falling asleep. What she didn't know was that someone was waiting outside. A white van was parked at the corner, its headlights off. A woman in black, wearing gloves and a scarf, stepped out quietly. She looked at her phone. A message glowed on the screen. "Now, she's alone. Window is unlocked." The woman moved fast and silent. She walked around the side of the villa and reached Ashi's window. It was half open. Carefully, she pushed it up and climbed. Sighed. In the dark room, the woman moved towards the bed. Ashi was sleeping, unaware. The woman opened a small bag. Inside was a cloth and a small bottle. She poured the liquid on the cloth. Suddenly, the teddy bear slipped from Ashi's hand and hit the floor with a soft thud. The woman froze. Ashi opened her eyes. At first, she couldn't understand what she was seeing. A stranger standing over her with a cloth in hand. She screamed. The woman grabbed her mouth and whispered harshly, "Quiet!" But Ashi fought hard. She kicked, pushed, and knocked over the lamp. The room lit up. The maid, Nadia, came running in, pretending to be shocked. "What's happening?" she shouted. But in truth, she was part of the plan. The woman looked at Nadia and hissed, "You said she'd be asleep." She was. I don't know what went wrong. Suddenly, a loud voice came from behind them. "Let her go." Mr. Saeed stood at the door. He had returned early and seen the van outside. He rushed into the room. The woman tried to run, but he tackled her to the ground. The cloth fell, and the smell made the air heavy. Ashi hid under the bed, shaking. Guards came in seconds later and pulled the woman away. But when they turned to grab Nadia, she was gone. Down the street, Nadia ran fast. She jumped into the van and shouted to the driver, "Go!" As the van sped away, she took out her phone and made a call. She failed. "But they're getting close. We don't have much time." Back at the house, Mr. Saeed sat beside Ashi, holding her small hand in his. "It's okay now," he said softly. "She won't hurt you again." "But why? Why did she want to take me?" Ashi asked, her voice trembling. Mr. Saeed didn't have an answer yet. But one thing was clear. Someone didn't want Ashi to stay here. He stood up and made a call to his lawyer. "Find everything about Amna Noor. Family, history, enemies. I want full details. Someone's trying to take her away and I want to know why." The next morning, a package arrived at the house. Inside was the DNA test report. Mr. Saeed opened it slowly, his hands shaking. He read the result once, then twice, his eyes filled with tears. "The child is biologically related to Mr. Saeed. 99.9% match." He sat down, unable to speak. Ashi was his daughter. His daughter had lived on the streets. She had starved, begged, and cried in the cold, while he lived in comfort, not knowing the truth. He walked to her room, where Ashi was sitting on the bed, drawing on a piece of paper. She looked up. Mr. Saeed sat beside her and said, "I have something to tell you." She looked curious. "I knew your mother a long time ago. She was very special to me. I didn't know about you." Not until now. Ashi's eyes grew wide. You knew my mama? He nodded. And now I know something even more important. Held her hand gently. You're my daughter, Ashi. She stared at him silent. The words didn't make sense at first. But then slowly she whispered, Really? Yes, he said. And I promise, I will never leave you again. Ashi's eyes filled with tears. For the first time, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. She jumped into his arms and hugged him tightly. Mr. Saeed closed his eyes and held her close. But outside, someone else was watching. A man stood far away, holding binoculars. He made a call. She's his daughter, he said coldly. Now we take them both. The next few days passed quietly in Mr. Saeed's mansion, but something felt wrong. Even with new guards, stronger locks, and cameras everywhere, Mr. Saeed couldn't relax. He stayed near Ashi all the time, afraid to leave her alone for even a moment. She was not just a poor girl anymore, she was his daughter. And now, someone wanted her, or both of them, gone. One morning, Ashi was playing in the garden with her teddy bear when she found a small folded paper near the bushes. She picked it up. The paper was wet and dirty, but the writing was clear. They lied to you. You're not safe here. Come to the old train station at midnight if you want the truth. Come alone. Ashi's hands shook. She looked around. The guards were talking. Near the gate. No one saw her take the note. She quickly hid it in her pocket. All day she thought about it. Was this a trap? Or was there something Mr. Saeed was hiding? He had been kind, but what if the man on the balcony was right? What if someone else was trying to save her? That night, Ashi pretended to sleep early. When the house was quiet and the guards were not looking, she slipped out through the back garden gate. She wore a hoodie, holding her teddy bear close. The night was dark and cold. The streets were empty. She walked fast. Her small feet hurt, but she didn't stop. Finally, she reached the old train station, an abandoned place with broken lights and rusted tracks. And there, under a street lamp, stood a tall man with a long coat. He turned around slowly when he heard her steps. It was the same man who had come to the balcony. You came, he said. You're brave. Who are you? Ashi asked. Why did you tell me to come? He knelt down and looked into her eyes. My name is Zayan. I knew your mother. I was her friend, her helper. She was in danger. And so are you. What kind of danger? She whispered. Your father, the man you're staying with, he wasn't always kind. Years ago, he left your mother when she needed him most. Ashi shook her head. No, he's good. He saved me. Zayan looked sad. He only helped you because of the bracelet. He didn't know you before that. That's not true. Zayan sighed. Maybe he's changed. But the people who wanted to hurt your mother, they're still watching. They know you're his daughter now. That puts you in danger. Ashi's heart beat fast. She didn't know what to believe anymore. Zayan pulled something out of his pocket. A necklace. This was your mother's. She gave it to me before she died. She told me to protect you no matter what. He placed it in Ashi's hands. Just then, a flashlight beam hit them. Stop right there. It was Mr. Saeed, with guards behind. Him. Step away from my daughter, he shouted. Zayan raised his hands. She came on her own. Ashi stood between them. Please don't fight. Mr. Saeed walked toward Zayan, his face angry. Why are you following us? What do you want? Zayan didn't move. I want to keep the girl safe. I failed her mother. I won't fail her. Mr. Saeed looked confused. You failed Amna. Who are you to say that? Zayan's eyes were full of pain. I was her brother. Silence. Ashi gasped. You're my uncle? Zayan nodded slowly. Mr. Saeed stepped back, shocked. I didn't know. Zayan stared at him. You left her. She was pregnant. She begged for help. But you were busy with your world, your money, and now you want to act like a hero? Mr. Saeed's voice cracked. I didn't know she was pregnant. I never got her letters. Her calls never came. I thought She had moved on. Ashi looked at both of them, her small voice breaking the tension. I don't want to fight anymore. I just want to be safe. Zayan's anger melted. He looked at her with love. You have your mother's heart. Mr. Saeed took a deep breath. Let's stop this. Let's work together. Ashi is what matters now. Zayan nodded. There's still danger. People from the past, people who hurt Amna, are still out there. Dayashi held both their hands. Then we stay together, she said softly. The next morning, the mansion felt different. Mr. Saeed, Ashi, and Zayan all sat together at the breakfast table. It was the first time Ashi had ever eaten with people who felt like family. She looked happy. But behind every smile, there was worry. Mr. Saeed had ordered extra guards, checked all the security cameras, and even blocked all unknown calls. Zayan, Ashi's uncle, was keeping a close eye on everything. Still, they knew the danger hadn't passed. Why are they after her? Mr. Saeed asked Zayan as they sat in the study. Zayan looked serious. It's not just her. They want to destroy you through her. You once tried to expose a businessman years ago. He lost millions. Mr. Saeed nodded. Shahbaz Malik. Yes, Zayan said. Amna had proof against him, but she was silenced. Now they think Ashi has something. But she's just a child. Mr. Saeed stood up angrily. How could they? Suddenly, the alarm system beeped. One of the guards rushed in. Sir, there's a fire on the second floor. Ashi was in her room. Mr. Saeed and Zayan ran up the stairs. Smoke was coming out from the corner. The fire alarm rang loud. Ashi! Mr. Saeed shouted. They opened her door. Her bed was empty. The window was open. No, no, Zayan panicked. Just then, one of the guards came up. We saw someone jump into a van at the back gate. It sped away. Mr. Saeed's heart dropped. They've taken her. He ran back down. Track the van. Use every camera, every contact. I want her back. Zayan clenched his fists. They tricked us with the fire. Inside the van, Ashi sat quietly, her hands tied. A woman with cold eyes stared at her. You're stronger than your mother, the woman said, smirking. Who are you? Ashi asked softly. You'll know soon, but you should thank us. You'll be meeting someone very special. Ashi stayed calm. She remembered what Zayan had taught her the night before. If they ever catch you, don't scream, watch, listen. Remember every detail. Back at the mansion, Mr. Saeed found something shocking. One of the maids, Natsia, who had escaped earlier, was seen on the camera outside the back gate. She had opened it just minutes before the fire. She was working with them all along. Mr. Saeed said, I warned you, Zayan replied. People around you were bought long ago. Mr. Saeed didn't reply. His eyes were full of guilt. But now, Zayan continued, we stop feeling guilty and start fighting back. He pulled out a small device. I planted a GPS chip in Ashi's teddy bear. She had it with her. Mr. Saeed stared. You did what? I had a feeling something would happen. It's the only way we'll find her. They connected the device to a laptop. A red dot blinked on the screen. She's heading toward the old factory road, Zayan said. That place has no cameras. Mr. Saeed grabbed his coat. We go now. Inside the van, Ashi looked outside. She recognized the road, an old broken path leading to a run-down warehouse. The woman beside her made a call. We'll be there in 10 minutes. Prepare the doctor. Ashi's eyes widened. Doctor? Why did she need a doctor? She began to feel scared again. But then, she remembered Mr. Saeed's words. No matter where you are, I will come for you. Meanwhile, the van reached the warehouse. A tall man waited at the gate wearing dark glasses and a long coat. Shahbaz Malik. He looked at Ashi as they pulled her out. So, this is the girl? She's just a child, the woman said. But her blood, it can lead us to the old documents. Amna hid them somewhere. Ashi stared at him. You knew my mom? He laughed coldly. She was brave, but brave people don't live long. Ashi didn't reply. She clutched her teddy bear, pretending to cry. But she was actually pressing the button Zayan had shown her. A small green light blinked inside the bear's ear. Far away in the car, Zayan smiled. She just activated it. She's alive. Mr. Saeed hit the gas. Hold on, Ashi. We're coming. Back at the warehouse, Shahbaz Malik led Ashi into dark room with machines and wires. We'll just take a small blood sample, he said. If you behave, it won't hurt. But before they could touch her, the door crashed open. Stop! Mr. Saeed and Zayan stormed in, followed by police. Officers. A fight broke out. Shahbaz tried to escape, but Zayan tackled him to the ground. The woman ran, but Mr. Saeed blocked her path. Within minutes, the criminals were surrounded and handcuffed. Mr. Saeed ran to Ashi and untied her. Are you okay? She nodded, tears in her eyes. You came. I told you I would. Zayan hugged her too. You were very brave. Ashi looked at both of them. Does this mean it's over? Zayan looked at Shahbaz being taken away. Almost, he said. But there's still one more secret. The criminals were taken away. Shahbaz Malik, the man behind it all, was arrested with his team. The police found hidden files, fake, passports, and stolen money in the warehouse. Ashi sat quietly on the steps outside, holding her teddy bear. Her small face was tired, but her eyes were full of light. Mr. Saeed and Zayan stood near her, both silent. The night air was cold, but for the first time it felt like peace was coming. Is it really over now? Ashi asked softly. Zayan sat beside her. Almost, but there's something we need to tell you. Mr. Saeed nodded slowly. We wanted to wait, but after everything you've been through, you deserve the truth. Ashi looked up, nervous. Zayan took out a small brown diary, old, torn, with a heart drawn on the front. This was your mother's diary, he said. She gave it to me before she died, and told me to give it to you one day. He placed it gently in Ashi's hands. She opened the first page. It was her mother's handwriting. To my little girl, if you're reading this, it means you survived. It means you're strong, just like I always knew. Tears filled Ashi's eyes. She turned the page. Your father didn't leave us. He never even knew I was pregnant. Someone kept us apart. But I know one day he'll find you, and when he does, you'll feel safe again. Ashi looked up at Mr. Saeed. He was crying too. I never got her letters, he whispered. I would have done everything to protect you both. I know. Zayan said, it wasn't your fault. You were tricked like her. Mr. Saeed held Ashi's hands gently. I can't change the past, Ashi, but I promise you, I'll never let anyone hurt you again. Ashi didn't say anything. She just leaned forward and hugged him. A long, warm hug, the kind that says everything without words. A few weeks later, the news of Shahbaz's arrest spread everywhere. People who were once afraid came forward, with more evidence. His empire began to fall. Mr. Saeed started a new foundation, one that helped homeless children and single mothers. He named it after Ashi's mother. The Amna Hope Foundation. Zayan became the co-founder. He quit everything else and focused on helping others, just like his sister had wanted. As for Ashi, she started school. Her new friends didn't laugh at her clothes or her past. She smiled more now. She laughed, ran, and even helped other children like her. One day after school, a girl asked her, "You're the girl from the news, right? The millionaire's daughter?" Ashi just smiled and said, "No, I'm just a girl who didn't give up." That night, Mr. Saeed tucked her into bed. "Good night, my little star," he said. Ashi looked up. "Papa, can we visit Mama's grave tomorrow?" He nodded. "Of course. She needs to know." "I'm safe now." Mr. Saeed kissed her forehead. "She already knows." Outside the window, the stars shone brighter than ever. Ashi held her teddy bear close and closed her eyes, her heart,